you. Welcome, dear Simona, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us. You have a quite different experience from most here, although we never know because many mindfulness teachers had a life before they became a mindfulness teacher. And so you have degrees in business administration or business economics, and your adult education has been mainly in the United States, Florida and the like. But by origin, you are European, you are a citizen of the Czech Republic. And luckily for us, you are also now back in Europe because you're now in Greece. Today, we attend to something that as eamba we discovered gradually more and more as speakers had the courage, as colleagues had the courage to speak up, that it was difficult for us to attract enough participants to make a decent income. Most of us do this for a passion because we really think that we are on a mission to do this. But as normal citizens, we all have to pay our bills. So this is why, as eamba, we thought that we would address this issue and bring experts online to help us make this work and to help us gain another competence, and that is marketing, communication mainly, to attract participants. So we will listen to what you advise us, Simona. Then at the end, you will offer us a training that is in the same format as the trainings that we offer, an 8-week training. That training will be paid. You will see what that training is. But here we will already have a few of your golden nuggets to learn from and maybe apply immediately. During the meeting, you have agreed that people can ask questions for clarification. So please speak up if there is something that you don't understand, so we don't forget to touch on that. And then after the presentation, we have time for questions and for whatever is needed, and maybe something has not been addressed, just tell us. And with that, I would like to give the floor to you, Simona, and thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Katharina, for this kind introduction and for having me here. So great to see all of your beautiful faces, and I'm so grateful for the work you're doing, because just as many of you have been changed by mindfulness in your life, it has also touched my life, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping mindfulness teachers, because I truly believe that this is how we can change the world. One life at a time, is by working on that deeper level and by helping people become more mindful. So I'm very grateful for the courage that all of you guys have had to even show up to be doing this. And I know sometimes in the midst of what you're doing, it can be easy to lose track of that. So I always love to start with that, just that note of gratitude. And yes, as Katharina mentioned, today we'll be talking about how to actually market and promote your programs and classes so that you can serve more people. And I know this can seem really hard sometimes. This can actually be the hardest part, is you have this passion, you have something that you know can help people, and you're sharing it, but it feels like people aren't listening. So today we'll touch on a few things that can maybe help you understand how to share your programs so that people are listening, so that people are engaged, so that people sign up and actually register. Because sometimes there can be just tiny little things that you can do, that you can change, that can translate into better results, into really helping more people understand exactly what you do and how you can help them. And so that way they'll be excited to sign up for your programs without you having to ever use any of those marketing, sleazy marketing tactics that none of us like. So it's about the golden rule. It's about, marketing in a way that feels good, that helps others. And then we can both feel good about it and actually be doing something valuable, even through the process of marketing itself. So that's a brief introduction. And I will be sharing some slides. And like Katharina said, feel free to either unmute yourself or raise your hand with the raise hand function so that I can see it, and you can ask me questions throughout. So I'm.
And by the way, I will keep an eye on the chat. So if you feel like not talking through Simona, you could put it in the chat. And Simona, I will keep an eye on it and draw your attention to it. So when I raise my hand, look, I do it because I want you to pay attention to the chat. Okay?
Okay, perfect. Everyone, please, let me know if you can see my slides. All right, awesome. So the way that I like to approach marketing is in a mindful way, and that means it's client-centric or participant-centric or student-centric, meaning it revolves all around the people that you want to serve. And it's about presenting what you're offering in a way that they can understand and in a way that really applies to their life. But sometimes that can be hard to do if you're not sure exactly who you're talking to. And this is something that I see often working with mindfulness teachers, is the desire to want to help everyone. And I absolutely resonate with that because I'm the same. I'm like, oh, if I could just help everyone in the world, I would. But sometimes with that, there's the challenge of also acknowledging the fact that there's only so much energy, so much time that we have in a day. And if we want to truly help someone understand how we can help them, it's hard to talk to so many different kinds of people at once without splitting your energy, without splitting your focus, without feeling burned out, like you're trying all of these different things. Because if you try to Google anything about marketing online, I'm sure you come up with tons and tons of tips and tactics, and then you might be overwhelmed, like, which one do I apply? So have any of you guys ever been at that point where you've Googled or YouTubed how to get more people signing up, and then you felt like, which one of these should I listen to? So if you have, you're definitely not alone. And the way to narrow your focus so that you can help more people is to actually become more aware of who specifically you can help. And so I'll touch on that in the first foundation of what I call mindful marketing. So I'll touch on 5 foundations, and these are all the big picture things that I believe are helpful for you to know if you're doing any sort of marketing. So this can apply online and in person. And with that, you can then go deeper into each of these based on what exactly your offerings are and exactly on who you're trying to reach, so that you can then use that even deeper to serve them on a level that they can understand. So the basics of mindful marketing are to understand your audience, to know what they're struggling with, to know what their problems or pain points are. And I want to address this up front because I also, when I first heard the word pain points, I'm like, I don't want to aggravate anyone's pain points. I don't want to talk about problems or challenges. I want to be someone who helps them. But over time, as I've helped others with marketing, I realized this is where there's a real opportunity to add value to people's lives, is by understanding what challenges they're going through, because we often don't make changes, or at least in my personal life, sometimes it's hard to make changes unless there's something that I truly want to change. And when you can meet people at a point where they know that there's something that they want to change. And in the case of mindfulness, there might be a whole lot of different things that they might want to change in their life that mindfulness can help them with. But being aware of what they want to change in their life can help you cater your message to them and your offerings so that they make the connection, so that they realize, oh, I didn't know mindfulness could be something that could help me live a life that could address this better. And if you're just talking to them about mindfulness in general, they might already have preconceived ideas, preconceived notions of what they think it is based on what the online world tells them. As many of you know, there are a lot of different mindfulness apps and courses and things that don't really deliver the type of experience that they would get in a mindfulness-based program. So this is where it helps to be able to educate people about the connection between how mindfulness could potentially help them provide a solution to something that they're facing. Mindful marketing also helps them become aware of what you're doing, aware of the work that you're doing in the world, because the more you're out there talking about your offers, the more you're out there just being yourself and embodying, being the example, the more they will know to come to you if they are looking for help with something that you can help them with through your mindfulness-based program or class. Mindful marketing is also about building trust and credibility over the long term. So it's not just about a one-time, sign up for my program and then hope that they sign up the instant that they see it. It's about building a true connection and relationship so that people trust you, and that they might, even if they're ready to sign up now, or if they're not ready, they know that you're someone that can help them with this topic. So it's almost building yourself as an expert in a way in your field. And maybe not, the word expert might not be the right word, but someone who people associate with mindfulness, so that they're not afraid to ask you questions because they know that that you've shared your insights with others freely. And it's also about growing your impact, because marketing itself can be a way to serve others just by sharing things, just by sharing what you're doing, even if it's just sharing one sentence or one tip, that could impact someone's life. It could change their day, which could then change an encounter. It could change your relationship. It could change so many things. And you haven't even started working with them. They haven't even signed up for your class, but you're already making an impact in people's lives. And I think that's so beautiful. It's just such a beautiful way to reframe marketing, to no longer see it as something that might be pushy or bothering people, but to see it as an opportunity to keep sharing your message, to keep sharing what you're doing, so that people can be inspired by that, and so that in that process, you can uplift them and you're also expressing yourself. So I love this quote by John Kabat-Zinn, so I put that in there. So you can almost think of your mindfulness program or class as a gift, and you're giving it to others, but you're also, when you give it, you offer yourself a gift. So it's a little mindfulness treat. So this is a pyramid of the client journey, or also think of it as the participant or the student journey. And I'd love to turn the tables a little bit to have you think about your own decision-making process when you're buying a service or a product. So in this case, let's relate it to mindfulness classes. So if you've ever signed up for a course, actually, if you don't mind, raise your hand, just your physical hand, if you've ever signed up for a course online that costs more than, let's say, $300 or 300 euros. Yeah, there's quite a few of you. So now think of it from the other standpoint. So now you're in the shoes, let's put you in the shoes of someone who could be a participant or a student in one of your classes, right? So you see this course online, and at first, this is the first time you're seeing it. Maybe you just came across it on a social media site, or then it led you to their website. So now you're on their website, and out of 100 people that land on this website, there's going to be 30% that are not going to be interested, that are just not really connecting with the message. They don't have a problem they're trying to solve, and they're just going to skip right past that website. They're going to be like, what is this? What is this course? What is this class? I don't know what this is. Let me just move on to the next thing. Then there's going to be some people that are going to say, this sounds cool, but I don't really need this right now. So for example, if you were to sign up for a course on how to learn to cook Italian online, some people might say, okay, this sounds cool, but I don't need to learn how to cook Italian right now, so I'm not going to sign up for it. Then there's going to be people who are going to say, yeah, I really want this. Like, I really need this, but I'm not ready right now. I don't have the money, or I've got too much going on in my personal life, and maybe I'll bookmark this for later, but not right now. And then there's going to be 7% of the people, and again, these are averages. This is from Sticky Branding, but just the big picture is the idea that then there's going to be even smaller percentage of people who are actually ready for this, who say, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I've been looking for. I've been wanting to learn how to cook Italian food, and I just couldn't find the right program. Maybe this is it. Let me look deeper into it. And then there's going to be 3% that are going to say, yeah, I'm buying it. I'm going to sign up for this class right now. Even if it costs this amount, I'm going to go for it. So there's a lot of decision making that's involved in buying a service online. First, you have to know who you're buying from. You have to trust them. And a lot of that credibility is built through your online presence, which we'll touch on as well as one of the foundations. Then you actually have to be ready. You have to have some sort of information in order to feel like this class or this course or this program is something that's actually going to help you. Because if you don't make the connection, if you think that mindfulness is literally, just if someone says that mindfulness is only sitting on a cushion and meditating, then you're going to think, oh, I tried that, but it didn't work for me. But as we know, there's so much more to it. And if you don't have the education, if you didn't have a chance to learn more about how else it could benefit you, you might just set that aside and then not ever sign up. So that's where education also comes into this pyramid, because it's a way of getting your potential participants ready so that they understand that this could help them change. And then eventually, if someone doesn't know how mindfulness can help them, your marketing is a way to familiarize them. It's a way to educate them, to move them up on this pyramid so that if they are truly ready for signing up for your class, then they will do it. And they will do it from a place of comfort and safety and trust, rather than a place of, I'm not sure what I'm buying, let me just sign up for something. Because not only people sign up for something that is affordable for them, but also it has a lot to do with their time, because time is just as valuable as money, or more valuable. Our time is the most precious thing we have. And so sometimes even signing up for that free orientation might be hard for people, because they're not really sure. Even on this client journey, they might think that they don't have the need. And so marketing is a way for you to share with them how mindfulness could actually help them with something that they might not have even thought that it could help them with. Any questions so far? All right.
Simona.
Yes.
Is it emphasizing on individual, or is it emphasizing on companies?
Thank you. That's a great question. So far, I think I was speaking more about the individual level, but we will definitely touch on on bringing mindfulness into the workplace and companies as well. So thank you for highlighting that. So just so I know who I'm speaking to here in my audience, how many of you teach mindfulness to both individuals and to organizations or workplaces or bigger groups? Let me see. Okay. Trying to maximize my screen so I can see all of you. How many do you think we have here, Katharina, who are raising their hand roughly? See, quite a few. You're on mute.
Yeah, you have the slide on. So, but on my screen, I see all hands raised. So there are at least 6, 7, 8.
Okay. Okay, thank
9,
you.
12. Some say both. Yeah, so, and there's one more, 14. Okay, as far as I can see, there are 14, of which 3 said both.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so that's great to know. So as I'll be talking about marketing, I will also touch on if you want to market to bigger groups, to organizations, how to make sure that your message resonates with them. So thank you for that question, William. That's great. So I like to look at mindful marketing from a framework of connect, cultivate, and create. So the first step in making sure that your marketing is effective is to connect with them, is to understand who they are, to understand what they're going through, to understand how exactly your offering could help them, and to structure it in a way that helps them. Then it's to cultivate relationships. So it's not just to put something out there and to hope that people will immediately click that button if they've never heard of you, but to do it with a long-term mindset, to be patient in your marketing and knowing that it's those little touches sometimes that can add up to where you're cultivating relationships and actually actively cultivating relationships and being willing to speak about what you do to others and to sharing with your networks, to building networks, to even collaborating with other mindfulness teachers, to sharing experiences, so that way you can cultivate relationships where people think of you when they think of mindfulness. And then it's to create value on an ongoing basis. So I like to talk about marketing as a practice, almost as mindfulness is. It's something that we do on a consistent basis. And with marketing, it's not something that you just do once and you hope that it will work for the long term. But if your intention is to teach mindfulness in order to make that part of your full-time living, you will have to do marketing on an ongoing basis, unless you get to a point where you just naturally have referrals coming in. And that usually can happen down the line, but initially it takes upfront work, but there's still going to have to be consistent marketing so that you can always have more new participants signing up, so that you're always staying visible in front of people.
Simona, can I ask a question? Oh, yes. maybe you're about to answer it, actually. It was just around that first step, connect. And I was going to say, how do you find them to connect? Yeah, but maybe that's what this slide is about.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is perfect. So in order to find who you most connect with, it's helpful, I believe, to reflect on where do you already have a natural connection with people, and to also consider your past work experiences or your past organizational or volunteering experiences, or even your geographic location or demographics, because sometimes you may find that you just naturally gravitate to helping certain people. And maybe you've never thought about it because your intent is to help whoever you can help. But if you step back and look at it, if you've been teaching mindfulness for a while, maybe think about, is there a pattern in the types of people that show up for your classes? Because that generally reveals who you naturally resonate with. And there's no judgment there. It doesn't mean that anyone can't sign up for your classes. It just means that now you know who tends to come to you and who already knows that you understand them, because then you can speak their language and you can really get specific with how you help them. So an example is, I was working with a mindfulness teacher who was a lawyer in her previous life, and she and I suggested to her that she reach out to lawyers in her area who are stressed, who are burnt out, because nobody understands the stress that a lawyer goes through unless you're a lawyer or any other profession. For example, I used to work in finance. So if I wanted to teach mindfulness, that would be something where I know that I get it. I get the type of stress that a financial advisor faces on a daily basis, and I can speak their language. And then I can show them how mindfulness applies to their daily life. I think that's the key, is can you think about applying mindfulness to your daily life based on how you've applied it maybe in the past or how you're applying it now, and then thinking about who are the groups of people that would love to apply it, but they just don't know how, because it's that application. And if people understand that you understand, it's the empathy building, it's that trust that you create by letting them know that you've been in their shoes. And that allows you to make your marketing easier, because now you might understand the language that they use to describe the challenges that you can help them with. So for example, if I wanted to teach mindfulness to a workplace of, a Fortune 500 company that is very focused on numbers and statistics and show me the ROI, then I would probably tend to talk more about the results that other companies have achieved from this, and about the stats beyond the cost of burnout and stress at a company level, and how it can help them save on healthcare costs, how it can help them lower employee turnover, how it can help increase employee engagement. So those are the metrics that decision makers in an organization would probably look at in order to see if they would even consider a mindfulness program. Versus if I'm talking to maybe moms who are going through stress in their life and who would love to share mindfulness with their children, I'm going to talk to them through a different language, because they're not going to care about the ROI. They're not going to care about, lowering they don't own an organization. So you're going to talk to them differently than if you're talking to someone in a corporate level. And this is important because if you're trying to promote your mindfulness classes to everyone, let's say you're even doing it in person and you have a flyer and it says, mindfulness class, then they might not know if it will work for them, because they're like, maybe this is more for people who aren't like me. And it also then depends on the way you design, the way you present a flyer or an offering, is if it has the vibe of it being maybe more on the professional workplace side, if you're trying to reach organizations, or does it have a vibe of a more one-to-one type connection, let's get together in a group with other maybe moms in an area, or with people who share a common interest or common demographic. There's even mindfulness groups for like runners and just very like specific things that you might be thinking, wait, but this is too small of a niche, we might call it in marketing. This is too small of a market. How am I going to find enough people in that area to serve them? There are those people out there. And the thing about tapping into these communities that you might already resonate with is that then people in those communities talk. So then if they really enjoy and they get the results, they participate and they truly integrate mindfulness into their life, they're going to tell others in their community. And then they're going to say, oh, I learned this from this person. And you're going to create this network to where people then naturally refer you because they have connections between themselves. And then it's also important to know who you want to help, because it allows you to make sure that your offerings are structured in a way that works with their lifestyle. So again, this is where the organizations versus individuals is important to know, because if you're working with, let's say, retired individuals who don't really have time pressures or who don't have family commitments, then they might be absolutely fine with doing an 8-week class, 2.5 hours a week. But if you're working with busy professionals and you're working with an organization where they're happy if they can find 30 minutes a week to get their employees engaged, then maybe you structure a program differently. And of course, then this is subject to your actual specific mindfulness-based program and how to deliver it so that they truly get the benefits. But also thinking of, are there ways that you could make it more friendly for them, and thinking about also the logistics, the times of when you're doing your mindfulness programs. Is it at a time that works for most of them? Is it in the evenings? Is it on the weekends? And how can you ask them, get feedback so that you know what best works for them? So any questions on that?
Deirdre, was your question answered? You asked about how you would find.
Yeah, I think so. Like, so it's a lot of, I think, like self-reflection, and then one of the things I suppose I'm conscious of, because I'm not really very active online, but I think once you find them, then it'll be maybe more obvious where they are, in terms of
That's chicken and egg, right?
Yes, exactly.
So here, the first thing, the natural connection is very important. And then nowadays you have a lot of possibilities. For example, if you use LinkedIn and you enter the location where you are, if you are local, and you enter a few factors that people who have taken courses from you, that define them, then you can find many more people. And if you send them something valuable, not something advertising like, but something valuable, and just invite them to that you want to service them, that can be the start of what Simona calls connect. But the connecting part, it is simply work. It's simply work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Lots of digging. Thanks a million. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Katharina.
Simona, I'm also using your WhatsApp for some, so keep an eye on your phone.
Okay.
Okay. I'm looking at time.
All right. Yes. So then the next thing is exactly what we just touched on, is to know where they are hanging out online. So how do you find them? It's to know how they use the internet. So where are they trying to find a solution to their challenge? Are they going on Google? Do they use social media? If they use social media, what platform are they most likely to use? Because this is the thing that I see a lot, is that people try to be on as many social platforms as possible, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and that can get so overwhelming and it might not even be effective. So that means that you want to know where they are most likely actually engaging and where they're searching for answers to things that could help them with their mental health, or things that could help them just live a better life. So if you're reaching out to individuals, then those individuals might be using Instagram or Facebook, but they might be using it for different purposes other than their own personal growth, personal development. Or if you're reaching out to businesses, organizations, they might be using LinkedIn. So then they are probably searching for things that could help them with their business. They're not necessarily searching for mindfulness. So again, phrase it in a way, or think about it in a way that allows you to tap into, if you were this person that you most want to help, where would you be searching online for something that mindfulness provides? And it could also be magazines, forums, summits, conferences. And then how can you show up there? So can you maybe, if you would be interested in doing, a speaking engagement at a summit or at a conference or at a podcast, what would be the one that your potential participants would likely sign up for? Or again, the social media thing, what social media would they most likely be engaging on? Then fundamental tip number 3 is to have an online presence. So make sure that if you do want to reach people online, that they can actually find you online, and that you have a way for them to learn more about what you do. So do you have a website? Or do you perhaps just talk about your offerings in a directory or some sort of list of other mindfulness teachers? And if you do, then that's fine, but make sure that people can find it easily. And if you do have a website, then consider how your website is positioned to help people understand what you do and what the benefits are for them. Because I even struggled with this when I initially started out my business. I was thinking, okay, I know how I can help people. I know how to write. I thought I knew how to write about it, but then I realized that I was writing about it from my own perspective. I was writing about it through my own lens rather than the perspective of them. And one easy tip for this is to count the number of eyes and the number of views on your website and on your profiles on social media. So if your website or your social media presence talks about, I do this, I offer this, I have this, or we, in case it's more of you, then it doesn't connect sometimes as deeply as if you directly talk to people, as if you directly address them and say, if you would like to blank, then you can sign up for blank and it can help you in these and these ways. And this is where language is also important, because then they see that if your website talks to them in a way that makes them understand that you get them, then they will build that trust with you, and they will be more likely to sign up to either work with you right now or to sign up for your newsletter or to connect with you somehow even before they're ready to work with you. So that leads into tip number 4, is to build lasting relationships. And as this relates to marketing, it's about keeping that pyramid in mind that we saw in that first slide, of knowing that sometimes people won't sign up the very first time they see you. Sometimes they might not know that they need you, or they might not know that they're actually going to improve their lives if they sign up now. So you want to nurture the relationship, and one way to do that is through email. So you can provide something of value that inspires them to get on your email list, rather than just saying, sign up for my email list, sign up to receive the latest newsletters or updates. You could perhaps give them an ebook or a guided meditation or a class or a free webinar or free meditation session drop-ins, so that they can learn from you right away, so that they can get a feel for what it's like to work with you. Maybe if it's through a video connection, then they have the opportunity to ask you questions, or if it's an ebook or a guided meditation, then it gives them a little taste of what you offer, and that then allows you to have their email address so you can stay in touch with them, which is super important in the age of social media. Because if something were to happen to social media, if tomorrow Instagram or Facebook went away, or LinkedIn or Twitter, and you don't have a list of the people who are interested in hearing from you, then you're not going to be able to keep providing value to them, because now you no longer have that ability to stay connected with them. So an email is a way for people to let you know that they do want to hear from you, especially if you provide something of value. So it gives you, they give you their consent. They give you their email address because they are interested in what you have to offer. So if they sign up for 10 mindfulness tips for reducing burnout in the corporate workspace, for example, if it's for organizations, then you know that they're interested. And then you can send them emails on whatever frequency you feel comfortable with that gives them more tips. And so you provide value and you have the chance to invite them to your next offer. So then if you have a class coming up, then you can invite them via email because you now have their email address. So emails are very valuable. And one way to collect them is to give people something of value. So again, you have the chance to add value even before they work with you, which I think is super cool. You can also consider building a community, such as there's Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, or just in general to be in the niche, to be in the market of the people that you want to help and to stay in front of them and to help them solve other challenges, to help them solve questions, even things that maybe mindfulness can't help them with, but just to be there for them and to help them with other things so that they trust you as a person and you build that relationship. And then another way to build, or before I move on to that, any other questions in the previous couple slides? All right. So then you can also build trust by sharing valuable content. So this is where blogs, videos, ebooks, or other webinars, workshops, anything that you hold that is free or low cost is a way to share value, is a way to write about mindfulness from your perspective. And one of the things I hear often when it comes to creating content is that it's hard or it's time consuming or that people are, that there's already so many different things out there about mindfulness. But I always like to remind people that it's not, that there's never been anyone who has written about mindfulness from your unique perspective, from your life experience. And this is where you can really provide authentic, unique value by just sharing your stories, by writing about or speaking or talking about how mindfulness has changed your life and how that translates into what it could potentially do for them. And it's also a way to express yourself and to stay in front of people. So doing that consistently is the key. So not just showing up maybe, once a quarter, but staying in front of people with different types of content over time and learning what they are searching for. Just through interacting with them, you're naturally going to see what people are asking for. And if you've been teaching mindfulness, you probably know that there's a list of the most common questions people ask about mindfulness. So thinking about that can give you a great start to building valuable content, because then you could write a blog about each of the most commonly asked questions about mindfulness from your perspective. You could have short social media posts, or you could have emails that talk about some of the most common challenges that people face when integrating mindfulness into their life. So help them solve some challenges. And then at the end of whatever free value that you give, have a call to action. So inspire them to learn more by then actually signing up for your program, for signing up for your class, because that is how they're going to get the most value, is by working with you in your group classes or in whatever way you offer your programs, because that's how they can access the structure of the mindfulness-based programs. And sometimes it takes that feeling of trust and education that valuable content provides. And sometimes you have to put it out there in front of people a lot of times. The average number that has been said that it takes to nurture relationships with people through marketing is 7, but now I've heard numbers anywhere from 7 to 13, all the way to 15, 16 touches, meaning that people have to see you or be exposed to you or your marketing materials that many times, maybe 7 to 15 times to actually be comfortable signing up for something, to trade their time and their money for a program. So don't forget to let people know how you can help them.
Simona, maybe this is the moment when you could also touch, maybe go one slide back, when you could also touch on William put in the chat the remark how that could be done with companies, because there are different and professional decision makers there that might want other things than what you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. So with companies, I could see this as being like guidebooks or implementation books that could help them solve challenges for maybe individual pieces they could give to their workers, to their employees, with like simple tips for preventing burnout or for reducing stress in the workplace. So giving the company decision makers something that they can then give to their employees or to the people in their organization, or it could be delivering workshops, like one-time workshops with just enough information to where they can kind of learn about what you're doing without a commitment, and videos and ebooks. I still think these are applicable, but they're going to search for them through a different way. So you have to think about what is the main challenge that this company that you would want to pitch is going through. And sometimes you can find that on their website. Sometimes you might be able to see, this company talks a lot about employee loyalty, for example, if you go to their career page. And sometimes it takes diving deeper into what they talk about to figure out what their values are and to figure out what might be a way to connect with them, and then giving them a freebie that connects with them on that level. But it is different, I think, in the workplace, because especially if you do it in person, I think nothing beats just going to places in person and having some sort of brochure, but also just showing up there and telling them about what you do and just building those connections over time. But to do that, it helps to know who you want to go after, like making a list of who you most want to help as far as the companies that you most want to help, and then learning more about them, doing the research and figuring out what could they most respond to. If they see that mindfulness could help them with this and with this, what are they most likely to sign up for? So it's like, I heard this metaphor that I love about, you give them, if you know that broccoli is going to help them, but they don't want to eat broccoli, then you share it in a way that makes it feel appealing to them. So with these organizations and workplaces, it's about telling them that it's going to help them with the things that they want to be helped with, like the employee turnover and participation, things like that, but knowing that it's going to help them with that and so much more. So really highlighting the things that they want. So does that help, William?
Well, yes, partly. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I can.
well, I was thinking about, if I look at it, eamba, this is an European organization, and I ask myself how many people are connected to eamba, and if I see now that 45 people from all over Europe are now on this webinar from you, and then I think by myself, what needs eamba to attract more people to the site? I mean, 45 people in Europe are mindfulness trainers who are interested in this one. So what should eamba do to get more participants?
Great question.
First of all, William, we are, as at eamba, we are not the organization that at the core caters to the teachers. That's the local associations.
Okay.
So eamba supports the associations, but since Corona, as eamba, we have started eamba Exchange, which offered in crisis times at the beginning, help to teachers. For example, at the beginning of the pandemic, we helped people to get online and to work with Zoom because many didn't know. Then we started doing more content things, and now we are stepping up to cater to the need of people not knowing how to do communication and marketing. So yes, we are doing this more and more, but we need the local associations to communicate that to the members, because as a eamba, we don't have a list of people of local associations. But we do communicate through the LinkedIn group. And the people who are on the LinkedIn group, there are now more than 600. They get all this information. And many say, well, we never find the right time, because some people give trainings over during the day, some in the evening. So this is why we are recording, to be able to show this to many more people.
Good. Yes.
But we are working on this, mainly through the associations, because eamba, in fact, needs to cater to the needs of the associations and indirectly to the members. So you're most welcome, but that's the core of eamba.
Yes, that's what I think also with the associations. I think they should be more involved to let the world know that there is mindfulness and how it can help organizations and people to have a better quality of life. And I see eamba, but I don't see often the associations to outside their own bubble.
Yes, but I'm grateful for your question, because actually this is something we are working on. But in mindfulness, we also work with what emerges, and we are patient for people to change. And change is, as Simona at the beginning said, change is mostly happening when it hurts so much that we almost can't bear the pain. So there's a fine line between being patient and between being pushy. So we have to be careful with that.
Yes. The Germans will say Fingerspitzengefühl.
Ja, genau. Yeah. Can I go, Simona? There are two remarks in the chat. One from Alex, and he asks, how can you get 4 more people to come to your page? And then there is also a question from Robert. Maybe you can address both of them without me reading them, because you can see them.
I see them. Yeah, thank you. So Alex, great question. How do you get more people to come to your page, website, or LinkedIn in the first place? So this is where knowing where they are online and what they're searching for comes in really handy. So if you've ever heard of phrases like search engine optimization, in English, that basically means what are people Googling online? There are tools and apps that can help you figure out what people are Googling related to mindfulness. And over time, when you create content that answers those questions, people might find your website just through Google. So maybe someone's Googling, how can I not fall asleep when I'm meditating? For example, that's a common question for people who are starting to meditate. Then you can write a whole blog about that and then talk about, okay, meditation is a part of mindfulness and so forth. Then you expand on it. But that's one way. So it's through search engines, through people finding you through Google. Then it is also through being on social media and connecting with others. So not just hoping that someone's going to find your social media, but you have to do sometimes the outreach, the active work to find people and then to connect with them. So for example, on LinkedIn, what I do, because the people I want to help are mindfulness teachers generally, I find mindfulness teachers and I connect with them. And I'm the one doing that upfront work. So if you know a target area of people that you want to serve, then you can maybe search for them based on keyword or even the geographic area. And then you connect with them first and you start commenting on their things as well. So you engage with them and then they will naturally get curious. Who is this? And what does she do? What does he do? And then they then they start learning about you. So it's kind of meeting them halfway. Where are they searching for you? Or what is it that they have in common with you? And so that's where knowing that market and knowing what they're looking for is key. And then that's how they come over time. Over time, you stay in touch with them, you provide value on social media and through content, and then people will start finding you. And then I think Robert just said he had to go. So does that answer that, Alex?
Where's Alex? Is Alex leaving? Alex, are you there? Maybe I would like to add one thing, Simona.
Yes.
The nice thing with working the way you just said, answering questions that people ask, is that through the search engine will also learn, and it will put your website higher up just because you show that you answer the questions that people need to have answered.
Yeah.
So it's not always Google that is so bad, but sometimes it's doing a good job by helping you. But then you really need to cater to people's needs.
Yes, thank you. I love that. Yeah. And so in a way, Google is also mindful because it looks for people who are committed to serving people. It wants to see that you are talking about a topic and that people are truly finding your content valuable, because one of the ways that it ranks pages, that it ranks websites, is by seeing how long are people staying on your website. Are they actually reading your stuff, or do they just come and then they exit out because your website isn't really helpful or because it doesn't answer their questions? And so it uses that data to then push websites higher up based on people who are providing value and consistent value. That's the thing. If you publish your website and then you never update it, you never add anything to it, Google's going to be like, this person isn't really as active, so I'm not going to show their stuff. But if there's a website that is constantly publishing blogs, let's say once a week, and those blogs are packed with value, then Google's like, oh, wow, this person's really helping people. And so it increases the rankings. And so then when people Google you and then your website comes first, then if let's say 1,000 people a month are searching for a topic and then you come up, then you have people coming just for that. And that's super exciting, because then you didn't even have to do anything with your marketing. You just had people find you through Google. I mean, you had to do the work of creating the content, but then it's the upfront work, which then reaps rewards because you did the work first.
Simona, maybe you can address that part, because not everyone wants to build a website. It's a lot of work. Also, the updating is a lot of work. Also, when you say a blog once a week. So maybe it would be nice if you address how this could be in an efficient way, that it is not so much work, because that could be something that puts us off. There are alternatives to having a website. There are alternatives to having a blog every week. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So then if you just want to have maybe a one-page page, like a directory or a quick listing about what you do and an easy way for people to contact you online. Let's say you just have a LinkedIn profile and that's it, and you don't have a website yet and you're not sure if you want to create one, then you could do your outreach or your networking in different ways that doesn't involve people finding you through Google, which in this case is, I would recommend doing things like partnering with others, like summits or conferences or places where you can get yourself seen and heard so people can find you through that avenue. Because if they don't find you through Google, then maybe being active on a social media page, maybe that's enough. Maybe someone finds you through a LinkedIn channel about mental health, and then you're on there active and you're helping people answer questions, and then someone clicks on your LinkedIn profile. That might be enough just because you were active and helping people with other things. Or maybe they heard you on a podcast, or maybe they heard you on someone else's workshop. Then Then if they find your LinkedIn page and you don't really have a full-on website, that's okay, because now they trust you. And so if you're comfortable with that, again, then this is going to depend on individual preferences, because some people enjoy writing, some people enjoy speaking, some people enjoy being on video. So find what you enjoy, what you're comfortable with, or what you would be willing to do, and then you can cater your marketing based on that, so that you're doing marketing in a way that feels good for you. So if you're the type of person that doesn't mind connecting with people and reaching out to them in like groups and talking to them, maybe you're not going to want to do a whole website and put out content consistently. But if you're someone who enjoys writing, or you're someone who wants to be more behind the scenes, then maybe that can be an avenue.
Simona, with time progressing quickly, actually, I just saw that we had limited the time to 8 o'clock, but most of the people here are used to 8:30. But maybe to just be respectful of the time that people have reserved, maybe you could finish the presentation and also remind us that there is this breakdown of what you're going to do in the course. I don't know, are you going to show that, the 8 weeks?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay, good.
And so then tying into this last slide that we have here, so have a call to action to sign up for your program. So this is a great live example of something that if you're hosting a workshop or a webinar, or you're doing something where you're providing value, then the next thing is to let people know how they can work with you in more detail. So the way that any of you who are interested in diving deeper into marketing and how to really figure out what types of people you most want to help, where to find them online, what types of offerings to structure so that it works with them, what types of social media channels to use, what kind of means of expressing is most natural and exciting and comfortable for you so that you feel good about your marketing, then we can dive into all of that in an 8-week mindful marketing mentorship that I designed for eamba members, current ones and potential future ones. And it will be held for 8 weeks. So it'll be 2 hours every week. The cost is 680 euros. And right now the time that we have slated for it is Wednesday nights. But we are open here to hearing your feedback as far as times, but I want to share briefly the outline of the weeks, or actually let me paste the link here so then you guys can see what you can expect to learn every week. But the structure of this is that the first hour I will be sharing tips on marketing and how to actually apply these in your mindfulness teaching business or practice. And then the next hour will be breakout sessions with other mindfulness teachers, and Katharina will also be present with us. And then at the end, the last 30 minutes, we'll be able to actually give you one-on-one feedback or within the group and provide our feedback to how you can really apply this to what you're doing, so that you can take what you learned here today and really make it applicable to how you're wanting to help people. So, and yes, question here. The recording, I believe Katharina will send that out in a follow-up email.
If you here have registered through the eamba link, the one that is, can you still hear me? Everything is dark now.
Oh, sorry, I just shared my screen
yeah,
again.
Okay. If you've registered through that link, probably Zoom will process this recording tonight, and then I will send it tomorrow. You will already have it. And Simona, we could also publish the PDF, right? So for people who like more the reading, we could also publish the PDF. And you, on the registration link, you will see the overview of the weeks.
Katharina, let me know if we have time to go through this, or if if we should just let everyone go through this on their own through the weeks, or if we want to open it up to questions. I'll leave that up to you.
Let's open up to questions because this can be read.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah,
Whatever it
any
is.
questions about marketing or increasing awareness of what you're doing and helping more people learn about mindfulness? I'm here, so feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Platgepraat noem je dit. Well, many thank yous, Simona. So also from me, on behalf of eamba, thank you very much for spilling your beans and for helping us already getting inspired and looking at what we are doing. We have this offer open until the 22nd. You will start the training on the 24th. If you're interested to speak to Simona before you enroll, because maybe l'esprit escalier is giving you other questions and you want to know something more, you can connect with her. She's you are in the LinkedIn group, right? You can be found in the LinkedIn group or directly on LinkedIn. And you're ready to help us and to help us decide.
Absolutely.
For now, we've seen that people have already picked up quite a few tips. You gave us 5, so at least thank you. Yes, Juan from Mexico. You're waving and clapping. Thank you very much. See you soon, dear friends. We have on the 25th of May, we have Luke Doherty, who is the winner of the Innovation Prize of the Mindfulness UK initiative. And he will talk on boxing and mindfulness and how he, as an athlete, is going into boxing schools to train adolescents who would never go to a studio to take a mindfulness training. But instead of Moses going to the mountain is coming to Moses. So this is really an innovative program, and he's won the first prize. So it's really interesting. By the way, last week, he was invited to the UK Parliament. So he talked to Parliament about his program. It must be something that is quite inspiring. I warmly invite you to be here on the 25th of May. And with this, have a great evening. Thank you again, Simona. Thank everyone to be here, because together we can make this work. And William, thank you for raising that point. Tell all of your associations that they publish our meetings, because we can have 1,000 people in one meeting. We upgraded the Zoom link to cater to many people.
Thank you, Katarina. Thank you, Simona.
Be here.
And
And
thank you very much.
Thank you.
goodbye.
Take
Good
care.
evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.